I'm Vinny Politan. Thanks so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And the week has ended. Next week, another big week in the case of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, because we expect Johnny Depp's case to sort of wrap up, finish his case, and then it's Amber Heard's turn to present evidence. And everyone is expecting Amber Heard to be witness number one. So, how will she testify? What will she say? We're going to go through all of that right now. And she has testified before. She testified in the UK trial. We don't have video of that. It's the UK. They don't let cameras in the courtroom, but they do put wigs on the lawyers. How backwards is that, by the way? No cameras, but everyone puts on a wig. That's probably why they don't have cameras, so you don't see the wigs. That's just my guess, all right? But there were cameras in the deposition of Amber Heard back in 2016. I'm going to play a piece of that for you so you get an idea for what she has said and how she is when she's being questioned. Take a look.
Did you ever tell any officers at your house on May 21, 2016 that Johnny Depp had ever done anything wrong to you, that night or before?
You're asking me if I've told them?
If you told them on May 21, yes.
Again, I said to them, I decline to give any statement at this time as per the advice of my counsel. They did make a comment to me about it seeming unsafe. That's why they needed to check the apartment. They made a gesture to my face. They said that I looked hurt. They also pulled me aside and said, look, just say a statement. We can make sure you're safe. Just say a statement or give us a statement and we'll go get the guy. And they said the exact same thing to Josh.
Is it your testimony that a police officer on May 21 told you that it appeared you looked hurt?
He or she gestured, I can't remember which one, to my face and said, we can tell you've been hurt or you don't look good or something to that effect, but I don't remember the exact words they used.
But something to that effect?
Yeah. One time, Johnny was hitting me, and he was hitting me hard and repeatedly, and I was screaming. Security walks in, and they don't do anything about it. And he makes this motion when Jerry Judge yells boss, or Sean, I can't remember who it was. And all we had was a little bit of separation, and my sister runs down the stairs. We're on a landing in between two flights of stairs.
Miss Heard, I must interrupt you because I've asked you a yes or no question.
Withdraw your question then, because she's answering.
Ms. Heard, prior to today's date, have you ever hit Johnny Depp?
Answer it however you wish. You've already asked, and she's already answered, and you interrupted her.
Ms. Heard, have you ever hit Johnny Depp prior to today?
Objection, Vegas at times.
Everyone on this side of the room, please.
Objection 352. It's not relevant to the domestic violence pursuit. Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Answer it however you want to, including the way you were just...
I'm asking for a yes or no answer.
You don't have to answer it the way she wants you to answer it.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up. I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her, I don't know what I did, but I know I jumped in between the actions that I saw could lead to a fatal injury to my sister. She was standing on the top of a flight of stairs, and she has never hurt anyone in her life, and she does not deserve to be pushed down the flight of stairs. And it looked like she was about to be. And I would have done what anybody who has a child or a sister would have done. I acted defensively in her life. I saw her standing on top of a flight of stairs and trying to interrupt a fight in between him and I. I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him and her. But I would have done anything. I would have done anything to prevent her from being pushed down a flight of stairs.
intense, right? I mean, and we don't see everyone else in the room, but it sounds like there's a whole bunch of lawyers there, right? Objection, but you saw the testimony. You saw the intensity of Amber Heard. Now, that is 6 years ago, but she's going to take the stand again. And what should we make of how we think she will perform on the witness stand, what her demeanor will be like? Let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight in New York City, former senior homicide prosecutor Bernardo Villalona. In San Diego, California, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Brian Watkins. You can contact him at brianwatkinslaw.com. And in Staten Island, New York, former prosecutor Joan Aluzzi. Great to see everyone tonight. Bernardo, what'd you think of Amber?
Vinny, what is the jury going to think about Amber? They've heard so much dirt about Amber, about her mental stability, about her prior bad acts, about how she's not stable, about how she leaves poop on people's bed. There's so much that this jury has heard that it's going to be hard for when Amber gets up on the stand for them to give her a clean slate and be able to listen to her testimony with an open mind. What are we going to hear from this woman? Is she going to come back with the same story about the May 2016 incident? I highly doubt it, because guess what? Those cops have already testified and discredited her version of what she said in that deposition. So, Amber, what do you have for the people?
Brian Watkins, what did you think of her demeanor?
You know, the lawyer did a great job. It looked like she was going to hit the lawyer, and that's what you want. You know, you want to get someone angry. You want to let the jury see her temper, how volatile she is, how emotional she is. And she's angry at the lawyer. All the lawyer's doing is asking questions. How angry did she get at Johnny Depp in an emotional, you know, relationship-tied, heart-involved fight? She gets this angry at a lawyer. I don't know. I'm scared of her.
Joan Aluzzi, you know, I look at her in the courtroom now, 6 years older. She's not old. She's just 6 years older than she was in that deposition. Do you think we're going to see a different person on the witness stand than we saw being deposed?
I think that she's going to start off as a calm, rational sounding person. She's going to be calm. And at times, I think that she'll even be somewhat, very calm to the point of unemotional. And then I think she's going to rise to the occasion. Vinny, I think once she's cross-examined, the fire is going to come out, and she is going to show the emotion that she felt at the time the events unfolded. Now, that can go one of two ways, right? Either she will look like she is a anger-driven person, or she's going to come off as genuine and show raw emotion that the jury will relate to. I think that it's a matter of preparation for her, controlling her emotions to some extent, and then showing a little bit of herself, her inner self, to the jury.
Bernardo, what did we just see in that deposition? Did we see was that a victim, or was that something else? Because that's what this trial's about.
Vinny, and as you're giving me that question, I'm still thinking about all the testimony I heard from Depp's camp. So it's hard for me to give a clean perspective of what we see. However, I would tell you this. I don't like her attitude in that deposition. I don't like how she's sitting. I don't like how she's putting her head to the side. She's rolling her eyes. She's giving a lot of vocals. It's just too much going on there. Do I see a victim? I'm thinking about a gold digger.
All right. Now, Brian Watkins, I want you to take a listen to this, because in the opening statement, there was a description of a horrific attack by Johnny Depp on Amber Heard by her attorney in the opening statement. So I've got to presume that we're going to hear testimony about it, because we really haven't heard this version yet. Let's take a listen to the opening statement by Amber's attorney.
As you go through those 3 days of Australia, some pretty horrendous things happen to her. He rips off her nightgown. He has her jammed up against a bar. He has hurled bottles and bottles at her. He has dragged her across the floor on the broken bottles and the liquor. He has punched her. He has kicked her. He tells her he's going to kill her. He hates her. He's pounding at her, pounding her. And then he penetrates her with a liquor bottle. That's the Johnny Depp that you're going to hear about in this case.
Brian, I would expect that she is going to testify about that.
He oversold it. You know, where are the injuries being dragged over liquor bottles? I want to see the emergency room reports. I want to see the stitches. I want to see the doctor's reports. He oversold that. She went through all that, and there's no medical reports to back that up. You know, when you cash your check and you don't have enough money in the bank, there's a problem. And he wrote a big check with that, and I don't think he's going to have enough money in the bank. It's going to be a problem.
Joan Aluzzi, through the years, you've represented so many victims of attacks as similar to what was just described there. What would you expect this testimony to be like, and what sort of supporting evidence would there be for this type of an attack?
Well, obviously there are no eyewitnesses to this attack, Vinny, but you know, one would expect to see some medical records, especially if she was penetrated by a large liquor bottle. Having said that, that doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a great deal of injury. It depends on that second, on that moment that you're dragged across something, whether or not it catches a part of your skin or not. And it depends on how far that liquor bottle was actually penetrated inside of her to determine whether or not there was damage. So could it be true? It could be true. At this moment, does it fly in the face of common sense? Sort of. I think we'd have to wait to play it out. I want to say this, though. Yesterday, when his security persons both testified, I was so unimpressed with them. To me, they not only were loyal to him, they're actually enamored with him. And I don't believe a word they say, even if they were telling the truth about what she was saying and what she was doing and what he was saying and he was doing, because they appeared to be protecting him at all costs. So even if somebody walked into them in one of those incidents in Australia, one of these two men, I don't necessarily believe that they would tell you the truth about his bad behavior.
Bernarda, this is a 3-day attack, a 3-day bender is the way it was described. She's going to have to fill in all the details here because nothing has come out about it yet. We know about the finger incident down in Australia, but this other 3-day bender where she is being held against her will and sexually assaulted, she is the one who's going to have to describe all of this and have the jury believe it.
Exactly. She's the only witness so far of what we know that can supposedly bring this evidence in front of the jury. So just because you said it doesn't mean that it happened. Not only do you have to say it, you have to come off believable. You have to come off credible. And especially since there's no corroboration. But we'll wait and see. Amber hasn't put up her case yet. All we've heard is what she expects to show during an opening statement. Let's see if she can back it up with some evidence and some receipts.
Okay, let's listen to Amber's attorney in her opening statement describing another incident.
Amber thought he was making a joke when he was talking about it, and she laughed. And he up and slapped her. Now you see the rings that Mr. Depp has on him hurts when he slaps. And she was stunned. She had no idea what to think. And she kind of laughed thinking, well, maybe that was a joke. What just happened? And he slapped her again. And then she just froze and just looked. And then he hit her again, and this time it knocked her right off the sofa onto the ground. And she remembers her face was in this dirty, filthy carpet. That's what she remembers and fixated on, the dirty carpet. And she's thinking, oh my God, I have to leave. I have to leave. But I love him.
Brian, she's describing another brutal attack here.
There is no such thing as a brutal attack that doesn't leave injuries. The definition of a brutal attack is an attack that injures someone and hurts them. He's not slapping someone so hard that her whole body is lifted up off of a couch onto the ground with rings on his finger, and she's not suffering some serious marks, some serious injuries, a swollen cheek, a cut eye, or something to that effect. And you don't have any physical evidence to back this up, but it's all just what she testifies to, and she doesn't have the injuries that you would expect. She loses credibility with me. You know, she loses absolute credibility with me. So I think she's going to have a problem there if she doesn't come in with some serious, hard evidence, such as medical records.
Joan, the other part is one of the witnesses that Johnny Depp's team put up there was a psychologist who evaluated Amber Heard and came to the conclusion of a borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and the jury has heard that. Chanley Painter was in the courtroom. They were taking a lot of notes during that part of the testimony. So how do you think that will impact the way they evaluate and listen to Amber Heard as the first witness in her case?
Well, if the jury accepted everything that the psychologist said and her results, obviously it's going to color Amber's testimony in front of this jury. It would be curious to know whether or not she was observed immediately after these assaults, not only for recorded injuries, but her affect, her demeanor. Was she genuinely scared of him? Was she panic-stricken? Was she sobbing? Was she crying? Was she, was she beside herself? Did she start doing things in her life that were consistent with somebody who needed to get away from their marriage? And I'm assuming that her team has that available to them, and will put that evidence up after she testifies.
You know, it wasn't until the end that police were finally called, Bernarda, and police were called by her friend or friends. I think there was one that was there, another friend who found out about it, called LAPD from New York. But the fact that all these things are happening and there's no law enforcement, that doesn't necessarily mean they didn't happen, right? Because a lot of times domestic violence is happening behind closed doors, and unfortunately it gets very dangerous, whether it's Amber abusing Johnny or Johnny abusing Amber or them abusing one another. Sometimes police are never there because someone's got to pick up the phone to call them.
Exactly. And domestic violence is a very serious issue, and a very dangerous one, because I would say from being a prosecutor, one of the cases that you used to always keep attentive of how your victim, your complainant is doing, are domestic violence cases. Because with domestic violence cases, number one, statistics shows that a person is battered multiple times before they decide to call police for the first time. And even when they call police, statistics say that they always return to their abuser a few times before they finally decide that they want to end the relationship. So just because the police wasn't called doesn't necessarily mean that such an incident just didn't take place. But the issue with domestic violence, also what makes it so scary, is because it's behind closed doors, where other people are not watching, they're not listening. Unless things get so crazy, you get a neighbor who actually calls 911. So much goes on with domestic violence that I think we definitely need to look into it. And when I look at this case, it disappoints me, because if Amber Heard is lying, this is exactly why so many people do not believe domestic violence victims.
And when you have your own island, there are no neighbors to call 911.